The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Welcome back, children. How are you all? So, in our previous class, we discussed about some non-metals. They were hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. We discussed about 3 non-metals. What is the availability of these non-metals in Earth's atmosphere? How are these non-metals prepared in laboratory? What are the important reactions of these non-metals? And their physical and chemical properties. So these were the things we discussed about these non-metals in our previous class. Today we will move to our last non-metal, that is chlorine. Chlorine, have you seen chlorine? You wouldn't have seen chlorine, but you would have smelt chlorine. Where? Yes, usually we use bleaching powder, right? To clean our wells or the places in our backyard. Paashaga pidicha sthalakku clean cheyan nammal bleaching powder ittittu we will clean nicely, right? So when we apply bleaching powder, we usually get a pungent smell, right? That pungent smell is that of chlorine. So in bleaching powder, chlorine is there. So what is bleaching powder? What are the important properties of chlorine? Children, can you say some compounds that have chlorine in it? Yes, we will write some. Okay. So HCl. So it has chlorine. What else? Calcium chloride. Anything else? Sodium chloride. Magnesium chloride. So these are some compounds which have chlorine in it. So you can note it down in your textbook. So how is chlorine prepared in laboratory? Shall we move to that? For that, an illustration is very important which is given in your textbook. Let us look into the illustration and then discuss about the preparation of chlorine in laboratory. Look at the illustration. What do you see there? You can see a round bottom flask where it contains KMnO4, which is potassium permanganate, and concentrated HCl. You can see a Bunsen burner kept beneath the round bottom flask, and these reactants are heated well. You can see the chlorine gas is evolved out of a tin tube, glass tube. So this glass tube is connected to another conical flask which contains water. You can see that H2O. So this chlorine gas which is released to that thin glass tube first enters one conical flask which contains water. Why is it passed through water? Why is chlorine gas passed through water? Because it might contain traces of HCl. From where do you get HCl? HCl is one of the reactant. So it might contain traces of HCl. So to remove the traces of HCl, chlorine gas is passed through water. After that, you can see the chlorine gas is passing through H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid. Why is the gas passed through sulfuric acid? That is another important question. Yes, to remove the traces of water. Earlier it was passed through water. To remove the traces of water, chlorine gas is again passed through H2SO4, and then later on it is lastly collected in a gas jar. So this is an illustration which is very important. In the previous annual examination, the illustration was given and you were asked to explain. Children were asked to explain about it. So this illustration is very important. Now, shall we write the chemical equation? What happens and how is chlorine formed? Shall we move to the chemical equation? Children, this is a chemical equation. So, the round bottom flask contains KMnO4 and HCl. So, you can see the equation is balanced. These coefficients, the number 2 and the number 16 over here, is very important. Sometimes it will be left blank and you will be asked to fill it. Okay, so 2 KMnO4 and 16 molecules of HCl will react together to give KCl, MnCl2, manganese chloride, water and chlorine gas. So this chlorine gas is first passed through water to remove the traces of HCl, and then it is passed through sulfuric acid to remove the traces of water, and then later on it is collected in a gas cell. So this is how chlorine is prepared in laboratory. The chemical equation as well as the illustration is very important. Okay. So now what are the physical properties of chlorine? Does chlorine have a smell? Yes, you can note it down. There's a small box given in your textbook. What is the smell of chlorine? It has a pungent smell. What is the color of chlorine? Yellowish green color. Okay. Now, density of chlorine, it is 3 times heavier than air. Okay. So, chlorine is 3 times heavier than air. So, these are the physical properties of chlorine. Okay. So, beneath this chemical equation, there are some questions. We'll see to that. What are the reactants required for the preparation of chlorine? So, what are the reactants? KMnO4 and HCl, that is potassium permanganate and hydrogen chloride. So what are the products? KCl, that is potassium chloride, MnCl2, manganese chloride, water H2O and chlorine gas. So these are the products. Do you know why chlorine gas is passed through water? Yes, we have the answer, to remove the traces of HCl. So how can we remove the water vapor formed along with chlorine? Water vapor, how will you remove? By passing chlorine gas through sulfuric acid, H2SO4. So we'll move to the next part, that is the bleaching action of chlorine. So chlorine is a very good bleaching agent. That is why we have chlorine in bleaching powder. Okay. So how will you prove that chlorine is a very good bleaching agent? Yes. Take 2 jars and fill the jars with chlorine gas. To both the jars, one jar should be moisture free and the other jar should be little wet. To both the jars add litmus paper, some colored petals of flowers like hibiscus petals, and you can add colored clothes also. To both the jars, pieces of colored clothes and colored petals and litmus paper. Pieces of litmus paper to both the jars. Both the jars are containing chlorine gas, but one jar is absolutely moisture free and the other jar is having a little wet condition. So close the jar now. After some time you can see that the jar which contained little water, in that jar all the materials we added like the litmus paper, the bits of cloth and petals of colored flowers, all these colors have completely faded away. This shows that chlorine has the bleaching property in presence of water. That is why when we apply bleaching powder, we sprinkle a little water and then brush it. Right? So in presence of water, the bleaching action of chlorine enhances. So this proves the bleaching property of chlorine. Okay? Children, now we will see what is the chemistry behind bleaching. So we saw that for bleaching, chlorine enhances the property of bleaching, right? So what is the chemistry behind bleaching? Shall we move to that? So we have a reaction here. See, Cl2, that is chlorine gas, in presence of water gives HCl and HOCl. This is hypochlorous acid. So hypochlorous acid is unstable. So what does it do? it will release the nascent oxygen. What is nascent oxygen? That is one atom of oxygen. Oxygen is usually a diatomic or triatomic molecule. So you can see here oxygen is existing as is monoatomic here. So it is very quite unstable, and this we call it as nascent oxygen. This nascent oxygen is a very high oxidizing agent. So here this oxygen does the oxidizing property or the bleaching action in bleaching powder. Okay, so actually in bleaching powder what happens? The chlorine gas in bleaching powder reacts with water to give HCl and HOCl. HOCl is hypochlorous acid, where it is unstable. Hypochlorous acid is quite unstable. So what does it do? It will release out the nascent oxygen. This nascent oxygen is highly oxidizing agent. So the nascent oxygen released by chlorine gas does the bleaching action. Okay, then we use bleaching powder somewhere for our requirements. So actually the nascent oxygen is the one who does the bleaching action for chlorine. Okay, so this is the chemistry behind bleaching. Another important compound of chlorine is sodium chloride, which is common salt, which we use every day, isn't it? So how is it formed? The sodium reacts with chlorine to give sodium chloride. It is available in the form of rock salt in seawater. Okay, so these are some of the reactions of chlorine. Now we will see what are the different uses of chlorine. For bleaching, chlorine is used for bleaching, to prepare pesticides, to remove stain from clothes. That is why chlorine has a high oxidizing property. So the removing stain is all oxidizing properties. Okay, to purify water and to prepare bleaching powder. So bleaching powder is a very common thing we use in day-to-day life. Actually, what is bleaching powder? Bleaching powder is prepared by passing dry chlorine gas over slaked lime. What is slaked lime? CaOH twice, calcium hydroxide. So this is slaked lime. So when we pass dry chlorine gas over slaked lime, we get bleaching powder. Bleaching powder is a very good disinfectant. Actually, when Kerala was experiencing floods, after floods, all the areas were cleaned, right? That time bleaching powder was used to clean out or remove the dust and dirt particles from the houses, furniture, etc. So it is a very good disinfectant, and it is a very good oxidizing agent also, isn't it? To clean out the water, to remove the impurities from water, we use bleaching powder. Okay. So children, now we will study how to identify a chloride salt in laboratory. Usually in higher secondary classes you will be doing experiments in laboratory, right? There you will be given a salt and you will be asked to find out whether it is a chloride salt. So how will you identify a chloride salt? We use a reagent called silver nitrate, that is silver AgNO3, silver nitrate. So we will take sodium chloride in a test tube and add drops of silver nitrate solution to it. So what do you get? You will get a white curdy precipitate. Okay. So to this white curdy precipitate, add few drops of ammonium hydroxide solution. So ammonium hydroxide is added to this white curdy precipitate. What happens? The white curdy precipitate disappears and you will get a clear solution. So if the white precipitate dissolves and if you get a clear solution, the salt you have taken will be a chloride salt. Of course, here we have taken a chloride salt, that is sodium chloride. In case the white curdy precipitate doesn't dissolve and if you don't get a clear solution, the taken salt or the provided salt is not a chloride salt. So how will you identify a chloride salt? Using two reagents, that is silver nitrate and ammonium hydroxide solution. You can identify whether a given salt is chloride or not. Okay? Children, observe this reaction carefully. What do you see here? First, let us assign charges for all these atoms. I hope by this time you know the charges for all the ions. You have studied in previous chapter. Okay? So we will assign charges Na plus Cl minus, Ag plus NO3 minus, Ag plus Cl minus and Na plus NO3 minus. These are the charges for all the ions here in these compounds. So just observe what happens here is the anion, this is cation and this is anion. The anion is exchanged between the reactants. Cl minus comes here and NO3 minus comes here. So what is happening? NaNO3 is formed as a product. Likewise, AgCl is formed here as another product. So there is an interchange of ions between the reactants. So you can see there is an interchange of ions between the reactants in a chemical reaction. Such a reaction we call it as double decomposition reaction. So we call such reactions as double decomposition reactions. So we have one more example given in your textbook. So here you can see H2SO4 BaCl2 gives BaSO4 2HCl. Shall we assign charges here? So you can see there is an interchange of ions. Ba combines with SO4 2 minus, Ba2 plus combines with SO4 2 minus to form BaSO4. Likewise, H2 and Cl2 combines to give two molecules of HCl. So there is an interchange of ions between the reactants to form the products. So such reactions we call them as double decomposition reaction. So the chapter is over. Now we will go to the next task which is given in your textbook. Some reactions are given. We have to identify these reactions and place them in the suitable boxes. Shall we do that in the textbook itself? See, look at the first reaction. 2KCl gives 2K plus Cl2. Here, one reactant breaks up into two products. So it is a decomposition reaction. Place it in the particular box. CeCO3 gives CaO plus CO2. This is also a decomposition reaction. 2HI gives H2 plus I2. Similarly, decomposition reaction. KCl plus AgNO3 gives AgCl plus KNO3. It's a double decomposition reaction. Mg plus 2HCl gives MgCl2 plus H2. It is also a displacement reaction where hydrogen is displaced and instead Mg is being substituted there. Okay, so 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O, reaction F. Okay, so here two reactants are combining to form one product. So it is a combination reaction. Reaction G, Mg plus H2SO4. So you can see that instead of hydrogen, magnesium is going and sitting there. So it is a displacement reaction. Reaction H, Na2SO4 plus BaCl2 gives BaSO4 plus 2NaCl. It's a double decomposition reaction. Place it in suitable boxes. This you can do it in the textbook itself. The chapter is over. Now we move to the let us assess. Okay. So look at the first question here. Suitable chemicals are given here. You have to find out those chemicals which are required for the preparation of oxygen and hydrogen. So for the preparation of oxygen, what are the chemicals required? When you prepare prepare oxygen in a laboratory, you need potassium permanganate. You remember, potassium permanganate is taken in a moisture-free boiling tube and heated. So the reactant required here is KMnO4. And what are the reactants required for the preparation of hydrogen? You need hydrochloric acid and zinc granules. So you can do this. Let us assess work in the file. Okay. Now coming to second question. A. The gas which is combustible and is formed through electrolysis of water, which is a gas, hydrogen. The gas that is used for water purification, chlorine gas. The element inevitable for the growth of plants, nitrogen. The gas formed by the thermal decomposition of KMnO4, that is oxygen. So next there is a match of following, we will match it correctly. Hydrogen is a fuel. Oxygen is used for biodegradation. Chlorine is a disinfectant. Nitrogen is a cooling agent. So you can match accordingly and you should copy this in your file. Fourth question. What are the chemicals used to prepare chlorine in the laboratory? Just now we discussed. They are KMnO4 and concentrated HCl. Why is chlorine gas passed through sulfuric acid during the time of preparation? Because, yes, to remove the traces of water. How is bleaching powder prepared? By passing dry chlorine gas over slaked lime. What is slaked lime? Calcium hydroxide. Which is the gas coming out from bleaching powder in the presence of water? Which gas is coming out? Chlorine gas. Look at the fifth question. It's an essay type question. We should avoid chemical fertilizers completely and promote organic fertilizers. You have to explain it in your own words. I have already given columns, that is merits and demerits of organic fertilizers. You can use the same points and write an essay in your own words. Okay. Now 6, we have to classify the reaction. Mg plus O2 gives 2 MgO. It is a combination reaction. Why? Because 2 reactants are combined to give 1 product. H2 plus I2 gives 2 HI. It is also a combination reaction. 2 H2O gives 2 H2 plus O2. So definitely it's a decomposition reaction where 1 reactant is breaking up into 2 products. D. NaCl plus AgNO3 gives AgCl plus NaNO3. So it's a double decomposition or double displacement reaction. ZnSO4 plus BaCl2 gives BaSO4 plus ZnCl2. That is also a double decomposition reaction. Zn plus H2SO4 gives ZnSO4 plus H2. Here hydrogen is being displaced and instead zinc is being substituted there. So it is a displacement reaction. Likewise, reaction G, FeSO4 plus zinc gives ZnSO4 plus Fe. That is also a displacement reaction. CaCO3 gives CaO plus CO2. So one reactant is breaking up into 2 products. So it is a decomposition reaction. So copy all these questions in your file. Do it as early as possible and send it to me. Okay. So bye children. Take care. I will come up with the next session with the last chapter. So it's going to be your last chapter. After that we will do lots of revision. Okay. Bye.